Hey, what's up, good people? How you doing? Welcome back to Stock Up with Larry Jones. Go ahead and do what the prompter is asking you to do. And again, this one is brought to you by Stock Up You. Okay, Stock Up You, coupon code LEARN. Let's get right into it. This market it has fallen apart, good people. It literally has fallen apart. We had Nvidia knocked it out of the park with earnings. Was up. I said on yesterday's video, plus or minus. I think I said it in a while. Plus or minus 5%. Well, it rallied 5%, and the market was up this morning. But there's something extremely important that I want you to know for those of you that's in crypto. So please, I got to take my time so you can hear the whole thing. This will be time stamped. So. Stock market today, Dow, S&P 500, NASDAQ wiped out gains in sharp reversal lows as Nvidia slides. So Nvidia literally spiked up and slid all the way back down. Okay, we can see this blockbuster Nvidia earnings, blockbuster. Now there is a problem when we start knocking it out of the park, like I said, and the market still goes down. Though we had a fake out this morning. We had a shakeout this morning. Look at that. Nvidia stock surged as much as 5% in the early trading before also turning negative after chipmaker delivered an earnings beat and issued a stronger than expected revenue outlook for the fourth quarter. All right. And so all of that happened and we should be surging. Well, we were surging this morning. But look at the NASDAQ right now. Down 361 points. After being up about 300 points, it absolutely came down about 300 points. So it's if you look at that, it's actually down further than what it ran up actually. So we went up and then what happened? Bam, we literally plummeted. Let me just take a look right quick. Where are we? Let's go here. I'm going to go to the Qs, the NASDAQ. This is the 4-hour, good people. So, of course, this is the 200 EMA, but this is on the 4-hour. It's not on the day. The daily, if you look at the daily chart for a buy signal, there's still more room for it to come down. And this is the Qs, okay, which tracks the NASDAQ. Of course, the NASDAQ here, seen here, is what is tech heavy. So we could see what's going on with that. So there is a clip that I want to show you before we go into crypto. There's an exchange that just happened. I was waiting for better audio. I just recorded it with my phone, so bear with me. And I want you to listen to what this gentleman says about Nvidia's earning and the stock market at large.
Right now, I'm not making light of a 1.75% decline in the NASDAQ. That's a pretty steep drop, especially in what's been a solid bull market for the last couple of years. But the market story is not that we're down 1.75. It's that we were up more than 1,000 points of the Dow and that things have certainly turned around. Maybe it wasn't Bitcoin, Steve. If not, is there something else that you saw? Because we woke up to green. We woke up to futures up. Nvidia was up more than 2%. We thought, all right, this is buy the dip. This is the all clear signal. Clearly not the case, at least not today.
I think the other things here are, first of all, this is now becoming a key reversal where you have higher highs and lower lows. If we finish at these levels, that's technically pretty nasty. But in general, what's gone on is there's just, part of it is also the market's willingness to chase rallies. So I think what happened was when we woke up this morning, the S&P futures, NASDAQ futures were up about 1%, and that was okay considering Nvidia was where it was. But the need to chase this thing to up 2% is what makes it fragile. When you lose a little leg of the stool, down you go much faster.
So Nvidia has had these wild swings before, post earnings, up and down, down and up. We mostly up and down, and that's to be expected. The danger is we had the entire stock market weighing in on one company now, as opposed to 7 companies instead of a broadening out of the market. And it's just dangerous. So like he said, it shouldn't have went up 2%, meaning I think he was talking about the NASDAQ. So it shouldn't have went up that much. So it was too much based on the news, right? So I looked at it earlier today. I had to go speak for some high school kids. And I come back and we're red. And I'm going, what the heck? And so it ran up too much too quick is what he's saying. And just like I've been trying to get across, I don't know if I've been doing a good job, is like a balloon. The higher you go, the gravity is the same. The earth is the same altitude, but as higher as you go and it's being propped up, the further down you have to come. And so he's saying it ran up too quick on the good news of Nvidia's earning. And I agree, it ran up so much. I was like, wow, I didn't expect the market to regain all of its losses just off of one company's earnings. And so that's what's going on right now. And you got the jobs that came out. Now you have pressure from these feds that are saying no rate cut, no rate cut, no rate cut. You know, that seems to continue to resurface. The market is scared that the Fed is not going to do a rate cut in December. All right. So all of that is what's going on. Where's the bottom? You know what? At this point, I don't know. But we have to look at where this bottom, so where this market has been pulling back to. All right, S&P down here from the highs. I'm going to do that again. 4.6%, right? And we did the NASDAQ, right? From the highs, we are down. At the time of filming this, from the highs, we're down 7.23%. Now, I'm going to play something from Tom Lee. This is a long video. I'm just going to chop it up so I don't get in trouble, but you need to hear this if you're in crypto, okay? If you're in crypto, you need to hear all of this. So I'm going to take my time and try to get this video out early so you can have a full understanding of what Tom Lee is saying is what's happening. Is extremely interesting to your crypto.
All right, so Tom, you've heard what Steve had to say. This is, by the way, not unusual for Nvidia, is it? Nvidia, the good folks at Bespoke, your team, you've recognized that Nvidia will often have these kind of wild swings following earnings. But what is your take right now on these markets?
Well, I think I'm going to kind of add to what Steve said. You know, I think the crypto market has been limping along since October 10th, because on that date was a negative shock. I mean, today's stock market looks a lot like an echo of what happened October 10th. But on October 10th, that liquidation was so big, Brian, it really crippled market makers. And our market makers are critical in crypto because they provide liquidity. I mean, they act almost as the central bank in crypto. And if they've got a hole in their balance sheet that they need to raise capital for, they need to reflexively reduce their balance sheet, reduce trading, and if prices fall, they've got to then do more selling. So I think that this drip that's been taking place for the last few weeks in crypto reflects this market maker crippling. And so
guys, I'm just breaking in for a second so I don't get in trouble. All right, let's hear the rest of it.
So now obviously Bitcoin's at 86 and change. So what specifically occurred on or around October 10th that would lead us to where we are now on what, November 20th?
Yeah. Well, Steve actually pointed this out. There's a lot of what they call automated processes in crypto. One of them is called ADL, okay, and that's an automatic liquidation feature that would take place if someone's account or their collateral drops in price. It's essentially like a margin call. On a specific exchange, a stablecoin's price varied from other exchanges. Stablecoin should stay at $1. It dropped to 65 cents. But that only happened within the exchange quotes, within this exchange because of liquidity. That triggered an ADL, an automatic liquidation across many accounts. It wiped out, as that spread across other exchanges, right, because liquidations cascade, almost 2 million crypto accounts got wiped out, even though minutes before they were actually profitable accounts.
So who is behind this? Like, who's the they in the market makers and they got hit? Who's the they?
Well, you know, Brian, I am aware of names, but because I'm not someone who wants to name names. I think what you should keep in mind is that this error is actually essentially a bug, a code error, because I think in retrospect, they would have pulled pricing from across exchanges to set the price for that stablecoin rather than rely on internal quotes. But this has resulted in a lot of market makers and traders having less capital. And as you know, as crypto prices drift lower because trading volumes drop, they need to then have more capital available, which means they shrink their balance sheet further. So this is then that reflexive weakening.
So guys, he talked about the ADL, automatic liquidation, right? He wouldn't talk about which exchange that was. You can Google it yourself, all right? And then he talked about a lot of money being on the sideline, all right? So those are some of the key points as I break this video up on purpose so I don't get flagged. Here we go.
Is this some kind of a software bug that's causing part of this? I'm trying to follow exactly what you're hinting around about.
Yeah, I mean, Brian, it is. I mean, for instance, in 1987, portfolio insurance was the, quote, glitch, and that triggered the cascade in 1987. And so the industry learned and then never offered that again. In 2009, it was really the collateral wasn't secure in real estate and these packaged subprime mortgages. Now, the industry learned and they recoded that. I'm talking about Wall Street, but then regulators came in and overregulated. That was the negative effect of that. In crypto, this code of ADL and the way they pull prices is never going to happen again. The good news is we're not going to have overregulation in crypto, but now we have to deal with that liquidation effect. 2022 was a big liquidation, and it took 8 weeks. But that is not kind of, you're right. It is the nature of DeFi where there is going to be code and there's going to be an error found. And you said it, leverage is what's dangerous. And so investors should not be using excess leverage in crypto.
So guys, he went on to say, I'm going to play that one on my phone because that's where that video ended. They're just going to piecemeal this because it was a hot interview. He said that the ADL code is not just done. It's like a circuit breaker. It's just like the banks, when the banking, the mortgage rates fell apart and banking fell apart. They put circuit breakers in. So that ADL code said that they won't do it again. And all of this downturn that we've been having is mostly because of liquidations in crypto. Now, I'm going to cue up the part on my phone that he said that he sees that the bottom may be 77K. All right. So that's what he said. I don't know why they're not going to play the whole thing. They're going to make me work. So, guys, I'm going to point this out myself. Last night on the live with Keenan, Josh, and Mo, I said that we could hit 85. Josh said it too, that we could hit 85, right? I had another support all the way down here at 68. So what Mr. Tom Lee is saying is that he's saying, I'm going to play it. I'll find it on my phone and play it. He's saying that we could hit 77, right? And he said that this could be the bottom. So he's saying that this could be the bottom. I'm going to play it so you could hear it for yourself. He expects that it's going to go down, boom. And he said the recovery will be quicker than the drop. Let me cue that up for you.
The good news is we're not going to have overregulation in crypto, but now we have to deal with that liquidation effect. 2022 was a big liquidation, and it took 8 weeks. But that is not kind of, you're right. It is the nature of DeFi where there is going to be code and there's going to be an error found. And you said it, leverage is what's dangerous. And so investors should not be using excess leverage in crypto. But
you implied it in 2022. In 2022, we had what you would call a 6-week washout, maybe because of this, again, not using the word glitch, this software or coding problem or mistake. 6 weeks later, we know what happened. If you bought then, you made a lot of money. Do you still think we are in a washout period in an overall bull market?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you a few things. Whether we're talking to macro funds or to crypto funds, they are sitting on piles of cash. People are sitting on their hands because they know there are these plumbing problems and these crippled market makers. They're not going to try to be heroes and step in here. So when we look at those prior corrections, even Bitcoin in the last few years, Bitcoin last year had some really ugly corrections. Each of them had the recovery, right? The rise from the low was faster than the drip to the bottom. So if we've been suffering through 6 weeks of Bitcoin falling from 125 to 88, and maybe it goes to 77, right? Maybe that's the low, and Ethereum bottoms at 2,500. The recovery from there to all-time highs will be faster than the decline. That's what happened in every crypto decline, because what you have is all this spooled up energy. People are sitting and waiting, and there's panic selling, forced sellers, but the buyers are being patient.
So you hear that. He's saying that we're in a washout in a bull run, that panic sellers and some sellers have been forced to sell because of this ADL and a bug, right? And he's saying that investors are waiting on the sideline with piles of cash. That part I agree with, and are waiting for the opportunity to get back in. We do know that whales have sold. We know that OGs have sold. People that's been holding on to crypto for a while. And there is a lot of money on the sideline. Now, I want to tell you, this is not what Larry is saying. I am simply bringing you the news as I got it and pieced it together so I can get this to you guys in ample time. Tell me what you think. I think that I don't know. Like last night, no one would have called that we would be down by this much today. That quick. No one. All right. And so you tell me, do you believe Tom Lee is correct as it pertains to Bitcoin or crypto? And if so, just like the gentleman that was asking the questions, he said, had you bought in that time frame, you'd have had a lot of money. I'm not chasing. My focus has been constant. I've been saying I'm in this for the long run. I'm not chasing, even though we buy fear and sell greed. I'm already in my full positions, okay? But I'm also not selling, and I have not sold. And if it goes down further, then so be it. I will be one of the guys on YouTube that told you I went down. Now, anything I say is not a suggestion to buy, hold, or sell, or to follow me. Remember, I got in a couple of years ago, all right? After 2022, I've been back in since 2023. Got a little in 2022. So if you bought at the top, you're in a different position than I am. All right, guys, come join us here at Stock Up You. Put in coupon code LEARN. You could buy now and pay later with zero interest, with no interest. Okay, learn about options, learn about crypto, learn about stock. Okay, let me know. Please leave a comment of, do you buy this? Or do you think it's a bunch of crap because Bitmine is being beat down and he's losing money? Just be honest, be respectful. But I wanted to bring this to you guys as soon as possible, okay? Make sure you check out the links below. Live, love, laugh, and learn.